good afternoon. Welcome to the dinner table. Sean Lacey, 31st 3rd District Representative. Happy to be sitting before you today as we have a heartfelt conversation about the power of mentoring. We often talk about train up a child in the way that he or she should go, and when they're old, they won't depart from it. That training starts around the dinner table. The training, the mentoring that we often look for in life should start in our homes first, but in the absence of those home environments, we should be able to take that out to our local community. So I invited some of my friends from the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, 3rd District specifically, to just have a conversation, a generic conversation about the power of mentorship. We're gonna get some views. We got educators, we got mental professionals, we got politicians, we got enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, and of course, medicine. I'm an educator. So let's talk about it. What do we think about mentorship? Brother James.
Greetings. So we are back. We're here at Traditions, located in Petersburg, Virginia, 335 Crater Road. So if you're ever in Petersburg, please check them out. So when we talk about mentorship, well, before I do that, I'm going to let you know who we have on our esteemed panel. Brother Myron, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Myron McDaniels, 1st Vice District Representative for the 3rd District.
Brother Davey Smith III, I am the Vice Chair for Fatherhood and Mentoring. Also, I am the 3rd District Rep for the International Youth Leadership Conference for Omega Psi Phi.
And I'm Mike Frazier, 3rd District Father and Mentoring Chairman.
And I'm James Harris. I'm a therapist within the Virginia area. So if you ever need me, please reach out. So when we talk about mentorship, just an overall standpoint, active men, active women, you can get guidance from pretty much anywhere as long as it's solid information. Do you think the essence of mentorship has decreased, or you think it's still there?
I'll lead with this. I think mentoring is always going to be there. I think it's a natural element of human behavior to grasp onto someone who's older and been there before and want to learn from them, want to depict their wisdom, understand it, and magnify it. I do think the emphasis of mentoring programs might have gotten lost over the last couple of years because there's so many of them. But the essence of mentoring is still very vital, still very important. It goes on in every organization, every industry. It's just not as pronounced. And sometimes we don't know why we mentor, right? But you do it for the one, you don't know why you're doing it. But we don't really take the emphasis of trying to build the next generation and understand the power of mentoring and what we're really doing. And so it's kind of become generic,
right?
You know what I mean, without the intention.
So, Brother Myron, if you had to jump in and say the essence of what true mentorship is, what would you, I guess, classify that as, or put that in a bubble, if you will?
I would say for mentoring is to get from one person to another one, is to get them to where they want to be, right? And, you know, what do they see themselves doing and how can you help them? And especially if it's your own area of expertise, whether or not it's a job or it's a certain thing, how to, you know, to get a house, whatever it is, you can help out, or at least you can tell them where to go to get that assistance.
So pretty much that bridge, that gap, that I already walked it, so let me assist you and show you what mistakes not to make. So Brother Lacey, you in education, do you often see mentorship programs where you are, or do you think it can increase the need for mentorship?
There's a need for it to increase. And let me explain why. Some folks have bought into the narrative that there's an achievement gap in our school system. I'll be the first to say there is not an achievement gap. What we have is an exposure gap.
Yeah.
An exposure gap to where that we should be able to expose children, people, to the things that they can acquire in life, and then teach them the skills to get there. The biggest issue that we have, unfortunately, is some of our mentoring programs don't want to deal with the students that really need the mentoring. They don't want to go back to that neighborhood that really and true. They want the photo ops. They want the opportunities to say, I mentored this child in the 8th grade, and now he or she is going to Yale. They're going to Harvard. Well, guess what? 80% of the time, that child was headed that way anyway.
That's right. That's right.
But that's the story. The child that we looking to mentor are those that really and truly are on those free and reduced programs that can't play the team sports.
That's right.
Because their families can't afford it.
That's right.
Those kind of things. But the problem with mentoring that I see, 100% me, many times we don't want to show our true vulnerability. In order to mentor, you have to be able to identify the gaps within you so as that you can then say, I don't want James to fall down this same pitfall.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. So the need is still there.
Gotcha.
No doubt.
Davey, if you had to identify certain qualities within a mentor and or people who have influence on these young people's lives, what would you identify those to be?
I'll use this for an example. I'm going to use our brother that just turned 100 years old,
Okay.
Horace Savage.
Okay.
I've been knowing Horace Savage since I was a junior in high school. My senior year, I was the first recipient of his scholarship. The class of 1964, IC Norfolk named it after him.
Okay.
To this day, we still talk. I remember coming back my freshman year to the banquet. And I started seeing the qualities of my mentors, what they really did. They pushed me along. They held me accountable. They told me walk with my head high as a black man, as a young black man. They taught me how to tie a tie. They taught me how to, you should wear a suit this way. Even though it was a bar suit jacket because I ain't had no suit, I still had that suit and them khakis on, them socks, So the epitome of that, and to be at his 100th birthday, they're like, I'm still sitting here with my mentor.
Right.
One of the reasons I ran for public office, one of the major reasons I became an Omega, is because I had that mentor.
Yeah, no doubt.
So for him to see me at 17, 18, and then me to see him at 100 years old, it's like, whoa. And he's still mentoring to this day. So like you said, in essence, for that thing to fall, and you look for things in a mentor. You look for certain things. You look for qualities. You look and see if they're a good listener. They really want to take you on. And they're going to challenge you. And you got to be up to the challenge too when you do get that mentor.
So oftentimes that mentor is that person that fill in the gap when things aren't always good at home situation.
Yes,
I know for me personally, I grew up in the foster care system and then group home. So the traditional family structure wasn't there.
Right.
So looking outside of those barriers, I identified men of certain caliber to model myself after my behavior. And then of course that accountability piece.
That's right.
When they pull me aside and say, "Hey, you tripping." That wasn't
Right.
You needed that. So I definitely think that's there. Mike, what would you say the cross-reference from generation to generation as far as mentorship, whether it's from a political standpoint or socioeconomic standpoint, even an academic standpoint? Do you feel that mentorships are as needed as we think they are?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we have to stop trying to separate the mentorship programs and the students within the programs to create these elite mentoring programs, almost becoming elitists at a younger age.
Yes.
Like there is need for mentoring across the gap for the 4.0 student and for the 0.1 student, right? And sometimes them working together and learning from each other. I believe in peer-to-peer mentorship. I believe peer-to-peer pressure. I believe a lot of the grit that's going to come from a lot of students today can be learned from other students, such as you say you were in the foster program growing up. Did you ever link on to another kid that had great qualities? Like, yo, this kid has some really, really great qualities. He seems like he can be a dope friend. Like that peer-to-peer mentorship, and for you to recognize that in your heart and say, yo, this kid is on something good. I want some of this because I want to go to the places that they're talking to me about. It all kind of plays together. Absolutely, there's a need for it. There's a need for more intentional mentorship, and there is a need for training mentors so they can truly understand what mentorship is about.
Gotcha. Sean, if you had to identify ways from a standpoint of the Black elders who were within the community that will give you that tap on the shoulder and or that adjustment if needed, would you consider that as a stream of mentorship?
So let's keep this real around the dinner table, right? Okay. This potato salad, I don't know if y'all done had it, whatever. This is a result of mentoring, right? See, this ain't 2025 potato salad.
Come on.
This somebody grandmama
Come on now.
that then taught.
Come on.
And Sam and his wife were listening to what they did to get this potato salad. So when we talk about those elders, right? Yeah. it's about two things. Number one, realizing that mentors should have mentors.
That's right.
Right? There's truly levels to it. It's not like it changes. As a principal of an elementary school, I look for mentors.
That's right.
Those that can help me get to the next level.
That's right.
And then I want to serve as that mentor, as fathers, as husbands, as black men. Sure. We should want that, and it should always be there. So I think we have to be able to show respect, pay homage, but then build a comfort level to where that our older generation wants to release it. Because in some of the things that we deal with in our community, man, they just don't want to let it go.
Come on, that's right.
So what do you do when they don't release?
I think you just got, well, two things. Man, I don't know why I'm stuck on two. Everything has been two things. But the reality is when it seems as though they don't want to release, you got to look at it and say, it ain't for everybody. Mentoring is not for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's not built to mentor. Right. Everyone is not built with the fortitude or the character to say, I'm doing this for someone else. Right. So you can't keep running into that wall.
Sure.
But at the same time, when they do release, pay respect.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also know that sometimes mentors don't have the emotional capacity to actually put that time and energy into emotionally developing that relationship with their mentee. And their lack of self-awareness and understanding that they don't have the capacity to do so is going to set them up to fail. And that mentee is also going to be set up to fail because they think that the responsibility for them to learn from this mentor is also on them. But it's a shared responsibility. It's a shared model. And when those mentors, the elders, don't recognize that wherever they're at in life, if they have not developed that emotional capacity or that emotional tool to be able to care, show empathy, be there, make the call, even if they're not calling, that you might want to take a step back, retool, you know what I mean, or help find this mentee a better mentor that will be able to address some of their needs and do it for their gain, the mentee's gain, and not for your own self-fulfillment. Because we do get a lot of things out of mentoring. If you mentor, you feel good about yourself, you feel elevated, you feel like you're doing something for the community. But sometimes that feeling of wanting to do that can out and overweigh and overshadow actually mentoring the impact of that student.
So you said something, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You said something earlier that talked about being intentional with your mentorship. So you, David, got on this nice IYLC. You got on the Youth Leadership Conference. Talk about the intentionality you as leaders do when you getting these kids together throughout, not only Virginia and DC, but throughout the world. What is the intentional aspect that you're looking for in those that come on as mentors?
For mentors?
For mentors.
Oh, man, you have to be able to engage the student. I don't care how you do it. You have to be able to engage the student. You have to be able to show respect at all times. You have to make sure that you're willing to listen to the mentee to be able to understand and assess their needs so we can build a program to actually help those students in that particular program. I don't believe in cookie cutter mentoring programs.
Good.
What you might do out west might not be able to do what we do out east. What you do up north might not be what we do down the south. So for the mentors, training them, letting them understand, showing them the level of commitment it takes, because it's a lot, and making sure that they can balance home and their philanthropy, because charity starts at home. If you're not raising your children and being there for your significant other, your children, the way you need to mentor the mentees, chances are you're going to fail both entities. You're going to fail at home and you're going to fail your mentee.
So listen, for those of you out there joining us, first of all, we want to thank you. Mike just said something key that I want to hope that it resonates with you. Charity begins at home. And with our busy schedules and everything that's happening, we hoping that you can get encouragement to do just this. Sit around that, whether it's the breakfast table, the dinner table, a table on Saturdays, and just have these open conversations. Here's one thing that you may not know. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated internationally hosts an International Youth Leadership Conference. I'm proud to say that Brother Davey Smith has represented us in Virginia and DC very well. But I want you to share, if you could, when we think about the students that we're mentoring across the fraternity, across the globe, what type of students do you happen to see?
I happen to see students from all walks of life. I see those that are in the middle. I see those that are at risk. I see those that are achievers. And you can kind of identify them when you're reading the room. even sometimes by how they engage you.
Mm.
I remember when we were in the Bahamas at that leadership conference. Oh man, did we have a great time? The energy from those young people was just different, and it's all about culture.
Right.
It was
right.
it was yes, as you say, yes ma'am, no sir.
100%.
And I get back here stateside, and I see, okay, like you said, the social media thing, and I can see the flip side. So when we're in the room, I have to give respect, but at the same time, they gotta give it back. Put that phone down.
Put that phone down.
That's what they did. They put them phones down. I said, if you can do that, now my job is to empower you and inspire you and encourage you, because I can't motivate you. Motivation comes within. So again, they start clicking. They start leaning in like this, Brother Lacey. When they start leaning in like this, I got them.
You got them.
I said, I got them now. They ain't sitting in the room with their arms all crossed. They ain't got no hoods on their head. And just learning how, just to meet them where they are. Remember, I was young once.
Yes.
Not being afraid to listen to them, to give them the platform.
That's right.
To empower them, to say, no, you got a voice, to smile at them. Because most people, a lot of times these kids, they're coming through, somebody frowning at them.
Right.
Or doing this all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So guess what? They shut down.
Right.
Either they're going to lash out.
Right.
We had some kids that were I say, somewhat despondent, and we had the qualified mental health professional. We had to slide in, like, hold on, bro. Had to slide in and tap in.
Yeah,
And me and Bro Frazier had to both do that to tell the other bro, calm down. You got to read the room. But the main thing is, like you said, what I'm learning is to meet them where they are.
Yeah.
Meet them where they are.
Right.
They say, man, why you wearing the cap? Man, why you wearing the Jordans? I'm talking to young people.
Right.
The first thing they go, oh, he got the J's.
Yeah.
That's building a relationship. And the most thing I can be than anything else is I'm being authentic.
Yeah.
Kids buy into that and they see that right away.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether you're fake or you're authentic, they'll know right away. And that's one of the tools I think God has given me to use to be authentic and be my genuine self, to use when I'm in this room to uplift these young people.
Listen.
Yes, sir.
James, you normally lead all these, right?
Do your thing. Do your thing. You in there?
I have an opportunity
To hear,
to hear from you enough, right? We're talking about what we're looking for in the mentor.
Sure.
We're describing the types of children. From a mental aspect, tell us what you're seeing. How early do you see these kids truly in trauma, and what are the resources that's out there that they might not even be aware of?
Sure. So a lot of times, trauma and grief is one of those things that are oftentimes missed within the societal standpoint, of course, in the Black home. So I guess if we can identify those things early, we can catch them early, and then I put them on a better path. Not just from a systemic standpoint, but just from a standpoint to where they don't become numb and desensitized. The thing that you don't want to do is become our age and still not recognize that you got issues that you want to address. Because that bleed over to the people that are vicariously affected, whether it is your child now and or your coworkers or your peers or even your teammates. So you want to catch those things early. So the best thing that you can do, have a discussion with that person and or their mentor and let them know, hey, I recognize this young person was doing this. Can you keep an eye on them? That way it's more than just you and that accountability piece. It's other people saying, oh, well, I did see this too. Let's, go for the next level. Whether that's reporting it to the authorities and or the parent or whomever else, just so it can be monitored so it doesn't blossom into something else that can be magnified to be more detrimental, whether that is, acts of violence and or behaviors that are maladaptive. So understanding grief as well is one of those things. Understanding trauma is one of those things. And also with trauma, it doesn't have to be something that you are impacted by personally. It can be something that you witness. Right. So those things can be traumatic in itself. And I think people don't understand that. So in most cases, that's how it is. So we want to make sure that we're doing as best we can to prevent as many broken people, adults, as we can. So catching them early.
Can we peel something back? So what about those broken adults?
To your point, that don't
Sure.
recognize that they're broken.
Yeah.
Still in positions of authority and leadership to one. Train your children up, whether they be teachers, administrators, work in the regular industries. They're broken. What are some of the tools and things that people can do when they recognize that the person or may not recognize that the adult supervisor, the authority figure, is actually more broken than they are?
And that happens a lot with the lack of self-awareness. Because at some point, I mentioned not too long ago, being numb and desensitized. Right. You, in your mind, I'm doing the right thing because I've been doing this my whole life. you've been wrong your whole life. People just didn't tell you.
Right.
Or it wasn't accountability.
No true friendship told you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were repeatedly, as you matriculate, hey, boss, that ain't correct. You ain't got to talk to nobody like that. Just think about how many places you've been. In your essence, you've seen people just have a discussion like me and you talking, but how you grew up, it probably was yelling, cussing, going to blows. You're like, oh, I don't got to get aggressive with this brother. I don't got to argue with you. I can just tell you how I feel. You can respond. So those things are different. But when you're numb, you thinking like, I got to be aggressive. I got to give you this energy because that's what I know. Oftentimes you don't. So what happens is they go through that whole process. Now they are in a leadership role. And they identified that with being a progressive leader because I'm aggressive, because I'm, yelling or belittling or whatever those other qualities that they feel. It's not right. So now you got a toxic work environment, or you got people that don't want to come to you. Right. Whether that is your children and or your subordinates at work or whatever.
What would be, just to wrap up, not wrap up, but continue the mental health standpoint? I'm afraid to take that first step. What would be your advice to that person that really and truly knows that they're having, whether it's from a mentoring standpoint or just wanting to do more stuff? I know I want to do it, I just don't know how. What would be that one piece of advice?
One of the best pieces of advice you can have is ignoring the perception of others.
Ignoring the perception of others.
Correct. Because oftentimes you want to take the step, but how mom gonna feel when I go outside the home, or how my boys gonna look at me if I say I done been through XYZ. So ignore the perception of others and do what you need to do to ensure that your overall wellness is intact. Now, from a educational standpoint, we know that the mind and body is connected. So your mental and your physical is connected. So if you having mental health issues, that can lead to physical health issues such as diabetes, cancer, hypertension, and so many other factors, and vice versa. Those physical issues can lead to the mental health issues. So if you overstimulated, you're stressing, and you hypervigilant, you sweaty palms, all those things, anxiety to depression, you want to ensure that you're not developing those things by not speaking out, by not talking to somebody, whether that is a therapist and or positive self-care, having people that you interact with that got your best interests at heart. That's one of the major keys. Like, who am I surrounding myself with? Who am I taking advice from? Who am I looking to? But what am I doing to ensure that I'm good? Am I standing instead of sitting? Am I listening to the positive things on the radio or in silence? Am I doing things that are upstanding and will bring me overall health quality? Sometimes that doesn't happen because you're thinking about what somebody else might see or how they might view you or how they judge you.
When you have conversations like this with your friends and your trusted circle, do you guys hold each other accountable for those particular challenges?
Definitely.
Do you check in?
Definitely. So my specific circle, man, I can't tell you how many times we rush to tell each other, bro, I love you. Which is uncommon or has been uncommon, but for us, we've been doing it 20 plus years. Bro, what's going on, man? Just checking in, let you know I love you, dog. Me and David do it. David, we hit each other up. You good, bro? What's going on? David, I had a therapy session this week. All right, cool. It's little things like that where you build things to where you're not as desensitized. It's become normalized to have those discussions. I enjoy when people observe me and my friends interact because they see the positive. How many times you hear black men and black men say, bro, I love you. So if somebody look over, they're like, oh, what's going on? And it's just that authentic feel because that's how we are. And back to the accountability piece, if they're doing something that's unbecoming or is not high quality, I'm letting them know that. Sometimes they're offended, sometimes I'm offended, but we understand the place where you're coming from because we got that friendship. You got that bond.
That's right.
You have the authority to tell me that because you'd have seen me throughout my life. You'd have seen where I was. And it ain't right. You just holding me accountable.
So we've had opportunities to share different aspects of the power of mentoring. Right? We talked about the things that we look for in those that want to be mentored. We had suggestions and recommendations for that. We talked about the hope of the children. The range, the span, the spectrum. We've gotten some insight to talk about, hey, you that's on the verge, these are the things that can consider. In his next move, he introduces himself as our first vice district representative. But there's so much more to Brother McDaniels. I want you to take a moment just to share because you can tell them what you're retired from, but you did a lot of traveling throughout your time. Was there any mentors or mentor opportunities that helped you along that path? And as they go through those transitions, what would that advice be?
Yeah, so I'm a retired Army physician, 28 years, retired colonel. Lily, wife and I, family got to travel the world. And the different jobs that I was able to do could not have happened without mentors. So these are people, I mean, of course, like your job, you would think that your first line supervisor, whoever, they're going to coach you through stuff, help you. But I realize that's not always the case, even in the military. But it's always someone special that say, here, let me show you how this happens, right? So, hey, this is your first time being in command, you're a company commander, or even battalion commander. Let me show you this is what we look for, right? Or in my position as a physician, I had the opportunity to teach, guide young physicians coming in. So you have some who first time in the military, no exposure before that, right? And then you've got other people, they've lived through the military, they've gone to West Point, or their dad or mom was a command sergeant major, so they know that. And so, but you got to, as you said before, you got to meet people where they are. Right. You see where they are.
That's right. Take
the time and learn and see how can I help you.
That's right.
And then you may not be able to do everything yourself, but you can get them to the other right people at the same time.
Right. And I like something that you said, like mentoring means that you should have been a mentee at some point in time.
Had to be.
And you should have loved your role as a mentee so you can be a mentor. Me and David was talking yesterday, so he was talking about one of the elementary schools down by Norfolk State University. I'm like, J. Cox Elementary, I used to mentor there. I did Meeting for Success there my freshman year, my sophomore year, junior year, and senior year in college. I've been mentoring since I was 17, but I also came up through the mentoring program. Yes, I failed as a mentor. I failed as a mentee, right? And watching those failures, I've become a better mentee. And by the way, I've become a better mentor.
Yeah.
And I think the older we get, we don't feel the necessity for mentorship. I still need to be mentored, right? Sean, I still need to be mentored, brother. You know what I mean? I need a lot of mentorship, right?
You do.
You know what I mean? I do.
We all do. Right?
We all do.
Yes, sir.
I will never stop looking for mentorship. You know what I mean? And the trauma that you have being a mentor, and I know we didn't really discuss it, James, and I know, it have to be for another segment, but that is real because there are many days in running programs, whether it be Omega U or Man Up, where I ain't got it today. I have to lean on a David. I have to lean on Amara. I'm not in the emotional capacity right now because of things that are happening. And I think mentors need to understand you have to mentor. You have to be a mentee. And you have to be able to understand this role of mentoring, fatherhood, mentoring fathers, becoming a better father, looking for better fathers, mentorship from whatever age all the way up, you know what I mean? Understand the mental health aspect, have these discussions over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's good, man. So it is no age on mentorship. So you can always see guidance, you can always be a leader, you can always receive instruction. And I think oftentimes that's lost. I'm at the top, so I don't need to look nowhere else.
Right.
I don't need to, no, you can learn from people that you're subordinate.
That's right.
So as we close up, you want to give it closing words and all
Listen,
that?
here's my closing words, right? We need to eat more often.
Yes, sir.
Because here's the reality, folks. What we've attempted to do and what we've accomplished today is show you don't have to have all the answers.
That's right.
But if you can equip yourself with the right people, you can get those answers there. Yeah. We're going to send this information out via multiple social media streams. Yeah. We want to hear from you. Is this something that's beneficial for you? We can eat dinner. We can find ways to keep this moving. But more specifically, we didn't talk about the trauma to the magnitude. We may need another segment on it.
Sure.
Yeah. There are other things that's there. But if you don't walk away with anything from the day, understand the power of mentorship. Understand the criteria and the qualifications of those that mentor. Appreciate the vast majority of students that you will be able to mentor. Get your own psychological and mental health together. in and while mentoring. And then look at it. It can build careers that goes without it. On behalf of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, specifically the 3rd District, and my friends, thank you for dining with us today. If ever you in Petersburg, let me tell you something about this potato salad. Make sure you stop by Traditions. Visit Sam. Visit his lovely wife, Denise. Have time. If you don't get a chance to do that, when you wake that student up in the morning, when they come home from school, spend some time around the dinner table and share some wisdom. We appreciate you, we thank you, and we love you.